Hey guys, and thank you for joining me for another game collection video. Today we'll be taking a look at my PlayStation 3 collection, and it's quite a bit bigger than my Xbox One collection, so get comfortable, I guess. Now, I used to have way more PlayStation 3 games, but I traded like half of my collection in, I believe, to put towards the Xbox One bundle. And honestly, I don't miss any of the games that I traded away, so I kind of probably wasted a lot of money on a bunch of games that I never really cared for that much. Like, I think I played them all and finished them. But yeah, I easily could have kept that money and just put it straight towards an Xbox, and but oh well. So a lot of these games and a lot of games I used to have, I got for the purposes of getting all the trophies in them, because when you get all the trophies in a PlayStation 3 game, you get a platinum trophy, and I just like being a completionist. So in my last few years of having, like the last few years of the PlayStation's life cycle, I was trying to get platinum trophies in as many games as I could. And it honestly made a lot of the games more fun, because I was actively trying to complete challenges and that kind of thing. But today, what I'm going to show you is what I have left. They're the ones I have definitively decided to not trade away, for one reason or another. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy. So we're going to start off with Bioshock. And as you can see, it's a very old copy. I think I got it secondhand. And the reason I got Bioshock was to get all the trophies in it. But a lot of them were actually DLC trophies, and I don't typically buy a lot of DLC. And I got about 3/4 of the way through this one, because I was playing on the hardest difficulty, where I don't believe you respawn, you have to load a save game. And it just got really difficult, and I haven't been back to it in a while. I have completed it previously on computer, which is the first time I played it. But yeah, I picked up a cheap copy on the PlayStation just to try and farm some trophies, And Bioshock 1 is probably my favourite in the series. I know 2 got a lot of hate, but I actually really liked it, so I'm not sure why people didn't like it so much. I think it was mostly the story was pretty convoluted. But yeah. So Bioshock, if you don't know, you're in an underwater city called Rapture, and it's plagued by people called splicers, who have basically overdosed on these genetic abilities that you can inject yourself with, called plasmids. And you can see a splicer in this picture here, and in this one is a Big Daddy, which is kind of like a guardian. And it's good, you get superpower, like firing things out of your hands, and there's a solid range of guns, and the looting system is quite solid. I always like the looting and the the physics of this game, and I still probably will go back and finish this off. It's just the frame rate gets really low on PlayStation 3 sometimes, but definitely one that I do enjoy. Bioshock Infinite, I struggled to get through. I did not care for it that much. I felt like the variety of plasmids was a lot lower and weren't as helpful, and it felt a lot more linear than Bioshock 1 and 2. So yeah, I didn't really care for that one too much, but 1 is a definite favourite of mine. Next up we have my favourite Call of Duty Black Ops. The best-selling PS3 franchise of all time, apparently. With an asterisk, sales statements based on market data as of July 2010. This one's my favourite just because it was basically the first multiplayer game I had when I got my PS3. And I would stay up very late at night on Fridays and Saturdays playing Call of Duty with my friends and just, having the banter on Skype and stuff. And yeah, the first one was my absolute favourite in terms of campaign and multiplayer and zombies. And I did in fact get the second one, but I traded that back in because I never played it. But this one, every gun felt viable. My favourites were the AUG and the FAMAS and the Galil and the AK-74U. I like those ones. And Nuketown, of course, classic map. I don't know, it's just one of my all-time favourites, and definitely not going to trade that one in, even though I never play it anymore. It's a nostalgia thing, I guess. And I'm enjoying 3 on the Xbox One, but nothing will ever, capture that same feeling that Black Ops 1 had. And I think it's just because everything's going sort of modern and futuristic these days, which is alright, but I don't know, I just miss when it was about the guns and, the grenades and the skill, and less on, wall running and jetpacking and all that thing, score streaks, etc. Yeah, never a big fan of score streaks. Kill streaks on the other hand. But moving on, our third game is Beyond Two Souls. And I did enjoy this one, but I felt there was definitely fewer options that actually made a difference compared to the developer's other game, Heavy Rain. It was a little uncanny valley seeing Willem Dafoe and Ellen Page in it, but it's a solid story. You can play co-op where one person controls basically a spirit and the other controls the Ellen Page character whose name escapes me. And I got all the trophies in this one, which was difficult because I had to swap controllers to play as both characters at particular times. And yeah, so I can't really remember what it's about because it was a fair while ago when I played it. But basically the Ellen Page character has a connection to a spirit, and in parts of that game you can control the spirit and do various things. I would like to give an example, but it's been a while since I've played it. But it was a solid game. I did enjoy it, and the reason I didn't trade it in was because I would play through it again since it's a story game, and it's been a while since I've thought about it. And it was also a gift, and I don't typically tend to trade in gifts. I feel too guilty. But I definitely preferred Heavy Rain. Next up, we have Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition. And this is the second time I bought this on PlayStation 3. I bought it as probably one of the earliest games that I had on PlayStation 3. And couldn't really get into it. Struggled very much because when I first got past the prologue and ended up in like the main area, instead of going to like the Undead Parish, which is like the recommended starting area, I went down to the catacombs where the skeletons would just continuously kill me and I couldn't defeat them for good because I didn't have a divine weapon. And basically I was treating it as a hack and slash, but you can't do that with these, Souls, Bloodborne games. So I actually traded it back in, and then a couple of years later, Extra Credits, a channel on YouTube, started doing a Let's Play series of it, and they were talking about it, and they knew what they were doing. And I was like, oh, this game looks really good actually when you can get past that one starting area. So I spent the next few months looking for another pre-owned copy and found the Prepare to Die edition. And I'm about 3/4 of the way through now. I pick it up every now and then, but I just don't have my PlayStation set up all the time to be able to continually play it. But I'm definitely enjoying it much more this time around. And in fact, once I finish this one, I'm going to start looking for a decent price on Dark Souls 3 on the Xbox One. Because if there's one thing that I have to complain about, like I know this game's hard, but usually deaths are my fault. But if there's one thing I have to complain about, it's the abysmal frame rate in particular areas and just how dark it is. It's like, I'm pretty sure I have brightness on maximum in some places. I still can't see anything. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to going for 3 on the Xbox One and having a slightly better quality experience with it, I guess. Next up we have Doom 3, the BFG edition. As a kid growing up, Doom and Doom 2, particularly Doom 2, were the first games I remember playing on computer. And I would just play the starting levels of Doom 2 repeatedly because eventually it'd get too difficult. And I had memorized the layouts of the earlier levels, so the later ones gave me a bit of trouble. And then Doom 3 came out, and it was terrifying back when it came out. I would watch my dad play it because I was too scared. And honestly now I'm still a bit creeped out by it. But I actually preferred Doom 3 to the new Doom 2016, because there's a lot of atmosphere and story. Like, Doom 3 went forever, and I felt like it probably could have been cut back a bit. But this is back when games used to give you your money's worth consistently. But yeah, Doom 3 had a lot more atmosphere and story, whereas Doom 4 was kind of just a shoot 'em up, which was okay for a bit of fun, but I don't know, I like the scariness of Doom 3, just because it's always dark and you have a flashlight and there's always something coming at you. And in the original Doom 3, you could only have your flashlight or a gun equipped at the same time, whereas I think in this updated edition, they made it so you can have a flashlight and a gun. But it was a lot more scary when you had to walk around corners with your flashlight out in Doom 3, and then swap to a gun and fight something in the dark. So this is actually pretty fun to just load up the original Dooms on every now and then, and just the gun sounds and the level layouts are so satisfying. So I did actually enjoy playing all 3 of these Dooms, and Doom 3 took me forever to beat. But yeah, really glad I got this. Our next game is Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2, and I really enjoy this game because when I had a PlayStation 2, I would always get the new Dragon Ball Z Budokai games. So Budokai 3, Budokai Tenkaichi, and Tenkaichi 2. They were just really solid games where you could fly around the level and that kind of thing, but it was mainly about the fighting. Then I bought Battle of Z, and I really didn't like it. It was, I don't know, it was too simple, or I just remember not enjoying it, not getting a good feeling from it. So I traded it back in and ordered this one, and this is more akin to the Budokai series, where it's just one-on-one or tag battle sometimes, but you can transform in the fight, you can pick your moves usually, equip stat bonuses onto your characters, that kind of thing. And it had a pretty solid range of characters, not as many as the Budokai games I don't think, but enough to be entertained, including this weirdo with the green gem on his head. I can't remember his name, but the way to unlock him was to watch a movie that they remastered and put onto the game as an extra. So that's pretty weird. But it's pretty cool. There were some characters that I'd never heard of, like Super Android 17, I think that is. And this guy whose name escapes me, I want to say Bakura, but that's Yu-Gi-Oh! But I think it's something like that. But yeah, so this captured the PlayStation 2 Budokai games really well, and I believe I got every trophy in this. It had a solid online mode as well. I know the controls were just good, flying around was good, the moves were good, the graphics were like really nice. It just felt a lot better than Battle of Z, and I also tried Xenoverse. I didn't like that either, so go figure. And I remember when I used to play my friend in this, just versus, we would make the rule, I don't think he's in this one, I think this is back in the Budokai days, we'd make a rule that we weren't allowed to play as Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, because he was just overpowered as anything. And then, the rule we made for this one was no using, it's a version of instant transmission, but you can use it like 6 times. And we banned it because only 2 characters can get it, I think. And that was Vegito and someone else. And it would just, you activate it, and it's basically a passive teleport. So like the next 3 to 6 times someone tries to hit you, you just instantly teleport behind them. And it was just really annoying, so we banned that. We had like our own ban list. But my all-time favourite character is Teen Gohan, particularly Super Saiyan 2. I know he's pretty whiny and stuff in the Cell games if you watch the anime or read the manga. But I don't know, I always just like Teen Gohan, so like everyone likes, oh yeah, I like Goku. My friend's favourite is Vegeta and Trunks, and I just like Teen Gohan. And actually Teen Gohan and Teen Gohan and Kid Buu were my favourite. I really want to play this again now, but I don't really have a reason to because I completed everything. But the next game is a bit of a weird one. DuckTales Remastered. So I saw a streamer playing this, and I thought, that looks kind of silly. And then I kept watching and it was really interesting, like really good graphics, good level design, and pretty cool challenges to get trophies. So I bought it for like $20, right? And I'm playing it to get all the trophies, and then I get all the trophies, and then I realise there's no platinum trophy for this one. There's only like gold trophies. So that was annoying, but I did get them all, and it was a fun game. Like, one of the trophies was complete the entire game without starting over on the hardest difficulty, so lowest life and lowest health. I think there was one for completing every level by pogoing the entire time. So you have a cane that you pogo stick on, and it was like you have to complete each level only jumping on the pogo. You can't hit the ground once you start on the pogo. And it was a solid game. I never want to play it on the Super Nintendo, which is what this is a remake of, because this was already difficult enough, and I'm sure they probably nerfed it a bit for today's younger generation. Not younger, but games were definitely harder back in the day. Anyone can attest to that. But yeah, it was a really good game. So I'm glad I bought this, and I'm going to keep it. Next up we have Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition. So this is the third time that I've bought Fallout 3 because I purchased it on computer, thinking it was a first-person shooter, and it kind of is, but it wasn't exactly what I thought it was. So I played it for a bit on computer and never finished it. Then I bought it, the regular edition, on PlayStation 3 and loved it. Just gave it another try, it's weird. That's what I do with a lot of games. I buy it, don't like it. Years later I play it again, I'm like, oh, this is a fantastic game. So, completed the regular game, and then in the regular main game, once you complete the final story mission, the game ends and you can't continue playing. You can load your older saves, but that's it. And I was like, wow, that's terrible. So I looked it up, and if you have Game of the Year Edition, you can keep playing after the main story. But I didn't really want to start all over again. So I went to the game store, traded in my regular edition, bought Game of the Year Edition, took it home, loaded it up, and hoped that my save file would load. And it did. So I got past the main story, started the next DLC, and then never picked it up again. So, But I'm keeping it because it's a very enjoyable game, and a lot of these ones I'm sort of keeping for I know it's always cool to go back and play like my dad's old Nintendo Entertainment System games, and I'm hoping one day I'll get enough nostalgia to go back and play some of these. But I actually enjoyed Fallout 3 more than Fallout 4 for some reason. I was definitely more invested in Fallout 3. Fallout 4 I played normally for 6 hours or so, spread over a few days, and then I just got really bored. I'm like, I just have to finish this game because I don't want to play it anymore. So I just powered through the main quest and completed it, and haven't played it again. I don't know what it was. I think it was just, I don't like the base building aspect, and there's always another, what are they called? Compound thing to save. It was just very overwhelming and I couldn't really get into the groove of it. But Fallout 3, I was completely immersed in. Even though, objectively, it's probably a worse game, worse graphics, worse load times, all that kind of thing, just past gen, But I enjoyed it. Next up we have a classic, Grand Theft Auto 5. I 100%ed this, all collectibles, all story missions, all medals and stuff. Didn't get all trophies, because a lot were online trophies, which suck. But yeah, basically, and I got a lot of nostalgia for this now, even though I rarely play it anymore on PlayStation. My friends and I would just do races and, muck around. It's always a fun time. I have it on computer as well, and the graphic quality difference between the two is just unreal. Like, I forgot how blocky and aliased everything is in the PlayStation 3 version. And then you play the PC version and it's like a whole other game. And my friends, pretty much the same friends that I was playing with, all got it on Xbox. But I can't justify paying for the same game 3 times when I still own 2 copies and they don't really play it that much, so I'm not going to buy it on Xbox to not play it, or to play it once every few months, especially because it's still like full price most of the time. So I think I'll save my money for games that I haven't bought before. Next up is one of my all-time favourites, Heavy Rain. And this was by the same people who made Beyond Two Souls. This was their first game. This is a fantastic game. It's really good for ASMR because a lot of it, there's rain and a lot of it's quiet in talking and investigating. So I was pretty relaxed the whole time I was playing it and thoroughly enjoying it. And it's basically about a kidnapper basically takes your child and you have to complete these challenges to try to get him back. And you play as like 4 different characters and there's lots of little side stories and investigations going on. And your options, your choices in this game actually make a difference because a character can die early. They can have different relationships with the other main characters. It can completely change the ending. It's so good. It's like 3 to 5 games in one, basically, depending on which ending you get. I love this game. I hate the motion controls, but I hate motion controls in any game. But it's a really good game. If you have never played this, try and find a copy. It's going to be really cheap right now because it's so old. All else fails, try and watch someone play it on YouTube because it is a phenomenal game. Really good. Next up we have something that I haven't really played a lot of. It's the Ico and the Shadow of the Colossus collection. I've played about 10 minutes total of Ico because I didn't want to use a walkthrough. Couldn't figure out how to get out of the first room, as silly as that sounds. But I really want to play Shadow of the Colossus because it's like giant slaying, kind of. And I haven't actually played that either, so, I've barely played this game. I know they're both really good from what I've heard from pretty much everyone on the internet. And I like the idea of both of them. But yeah, I just haven't got around to playing it, which is why I still have it. Coming up is The Last of Us, a staple in anyone's PlayStation 3 collection. This game I have played through 5.5 times, trying to get all the trophies. Pretty much back to back. And this one's basically about an apocalypse kind of thing, where these fungus kind of take over people, and they become basically zombies, but they're called like clickers and that kind of thing. I don't know, the combat's really solid in it. Scavenging and crafting is pretty good. The story is quite interesting. And you play as Joel, a sort of grizzly old man who has to take care of Ellie because people believe she has the cure in her. So the enemies range between infected humans and regular asshole humans. And the multiplayer was actually pretty solid as well. I played a lot of it trying to get trophies. You kind of had to keep your camp alive by winning games and collecting a certain amount of supplies in those games. And it was basically a team deathmatch kind of thing. I think it was like 5v5. And I don't know, I was pretty good at it. Even though like it was a difficult game, I thought I was alright. I was above average at least, you know. But yeah, playing it 5.5 times kind of made me never want to play it again, and I haven't since. But it's been a while, and it is a good game. It's a very good game. And I'll probably go back and play it again one day. Especially since I don't have a PlayStation 4, and I won't be able to play The Last of Us 2. Next we have Minecraft. I don't like Minecraft that much. The only reason I have this is because my friend got it, and we liked building things together like towns and, you know, taverns, pubs, ships, docks, that kind of thing. We'd call them RPG Village. But I used to like this a lot more. Then I only liked it for building things because it was relaxing, and my friends and I would just talk while we're building stuff. But now I'm so sick of Minecraft. It is everywhere, and I can't stand it. It infuriates me to no end. Like, there's games, there's books. The other day at work, we got in a book called, like an unofficial Minecraft book, Diary of a Zombie, or something like that, or Diary of a Zombie, I think it was. I'm like, why do these things need to exist? I hate the whole Minecraft culture, and Terraria is starting to get there as well. I know that people like these games, but I'm just so oversaturated. Like, I've had enough of seeing stuff about Minecraft, you know. I'm not knocking the game, it's solidly built, it's got good support and regular updates and all that. But I'm so tired of it, man. Honestly, I could probably trade that in because we never play it anymore anyway. But, I don't know. Got it, may as well keep it. Next up we have a pretty cool game, Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga. I put hours and hours into the first Lego Star Wars, and probably half as many into the second one. And I was looking for this like everywhere, and my ex ordered it for me. And we played that a bit together, it's pretty fun. But there's no trophies in it. I guess this came out before there was trophies in PlayStation 3 games, which was one of the whole reasons I kind of wanted to play it, because I love playing the Lego games, and if I could get trophies by collecting everything and unlocking things, that's even better. But there was no trophies, so I was like, well, the appeal of this game just went way down. But it's a solid game, and it was a gift. And I'm sure someone will play it again someday. So yeah, I'll hold on to it. They are really good games. I think these ones are kind of the ones that kicked off the whole Lego game craze. And yeah, they're fantastic. I haven't really played a Lego game recently. I played, I think the most recent one I played was the Lego Movie game. And that was for trophies, and I did get all the trophies in that, and then immediately traded it back in, because I wasn't a huge fan of the Lego Movie. But, I don't know, I would like to get back into some of the Lego games, but I'm not as into the whole, you know, destructible environments, Lego humour, collecting studs and losing them all the time, as I once was. I don't know, maybe I'll get the Force Awakens Lego or something and give that a shot, because I don't know, they are solid games, but we'll see, I guess. Next we have LittleBigPlanet. I got this this mostly to play online with my friends because it was pretty fun when we were mucking around. We'd find levels to play and just like try and screw each other over. And I know there's a lot of fun levels in it, like avoiding sharks and trying to stop trains from blowing up with bombs. I didn't really play much of the single player, only enough to like get some decent decorations for my character. But they are a solid series. I haven't really heard much from them lately. I know there was a second one and one on PSP. I'd have to imagine there's one on PS4, but I don't remember hearing anything about it. But yeah, a good game that I'm keeping just because there's still plenty of game left that I haven't played, and it's a good co-op kind of game. It's just cute, mucking around, you know, good mechanics and stuff. So there's no reason to trade it in. Next we have Mirror's Edge, and this is a really old copy. Got it pre-owned. It's quite dirty. I don't know, I just really like this game. I was trying to get all the trophies in it, but again, a lot of them were DLC and time trial-y stuff, and I wasn't the best at the parkour in this, at taking shortcuts and stuff. But when you get in the groove and you get on a solid run, it's a pretty fun game. And I think I'd get less out of it than like anything. I think I'd get less than probably $3 for it if I traded it in. And it's a game that I do like, and I actually go back and play this one every now and then. And I actually go back and play this one every now and then, so it's worth hanging on to, I think. I haven't played the new one yet. Just haven't felt that need to, you know. But next we have Portal 2. Portal 1 I got with the orange box and enjoyed that. Portal 2 was way longer, way more difficult, but also a lot more fun. So there's new mechanics like bouncing goo and stuff, like liquid physics. There's backstory about Aperture Sciences, like CEO and that kind of thing, and a co-op story mode which I never actually played. But yeah, I held on to this one because I'd probably play it again someday. It's kind of frustrating playing co-op if your partner doesn't understand how the game works, because it's essentially you saying like, right, you need to do this, and I'm going to do this, you need to do this. It's not really teamwork, it's kind of just you being like, alright, you hold this controller so I can navigate through this level, basically. But the Portal series is pretty fantastic, so if you haven't checked them out, give them a try. Pretty sure Portal 1's pretty cheap these days. Next we have Red Dead Redemption Game of the Year Edition. I originally had just the regular version, and I traded it in for the Game of the Year Edition because we started playing online a little bit. And if you have a particular DLC, when you're playing online, you can unlock an explosive rifle to spawn. And we played online one time. This guy kept trying to kill us, my friends and I. So we would just farm the explosive rifle because it was a pickup, and just it obliterates people like into a puff of mist, basically. And it was hilarious at the time. Probably doesn't sound that funny. So yeah, but only one of us had Game of the Year Edition, so I had to go get it. So if we ever wanted to play it, like 2 of us had it. And Undead Nightmare is pretty solid as well. I played a few hours of that, single player. It's a really cool concept. But I do have to admit that I've never actually finished either single player campaign of Undead Nightmare or regular Red Dead. I have like attention problems when it comes to games. I just keep buying new ones instead of finishing them, but I'm holding on to this because I know it's a good game and I know I will go back and play it. And yeah, it's a really cool game, so it's kind of like Next we have the Silent Hill HD collection. I got this because I was always more of a Resident Evil player, but I wanted to try Silent Hill. And unless you played it back when it first came out, these games do not hold up very well. I think they ride a lot on nostalgia, which I just didn't have. There was a couple of scary bits, but overall, they aged pretty poorly, so that's about all I'll say for those ones. Next we have two that I have yet to play. Silent Hill Homecoming and Silent Hill Downpour. I purchased these because, quite recently actually, a friend of mine just got them. She still plays her PS3. And they looked pretty cool. They looked much more of an improvement over the classic Silent Hills. And I've heard that they're bad, but they don't look too awful. So I got those two to check out. And yeah, I can't really say much more because I have yet to play them. Once I finish them, I'll probably trade them back in. And the final physical game I have is South Park, The Stick of Truth. Now, I'm not much of a South Park fan. I do watch it occasionally, but I'm not nuts over it. It's not my favourite cartoon or anything. But this is a terrific game. Like fart and sex jokes aside and that kind of thing. The story is decent. The mini games are quite alright. Character progression, and it's a solid RPG game. I was super surprised. It's a really good game. I pretty much got it just for trophy collection, but I kept it because it's got tons of replayability. Like, you can pick your class, get different weapons and skills because of that. Your party can change. I don't know, it's a solid game. I was so surprised. Yeah, like, it's a really good RPG. Like, I'm not much of the one for the crude humour, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I'll probably, because I enjoyed this one so much, I'll probably get the second one that's coming out soon. The only downside is because I live in Australia, half of the scenes were censored in order to get an R18 rating and allowed into the country, which is a shame, but it was crude stuff anyway for the most part, so who cares. So that wraps up my physical collection, but I do have a number of digital games that I'll go over quite quickly. So I have one called Rain, which seems really cool. There's like invisible monsters that you can only see when the rain falls on them, and like their silhouette, I haven't played it yet though. I bought it ages ago because I thought it would be good for ASMR, and then never played it. But I kept it on there because it looks interesting. I have Alice Madness Returns, which is a game based on some version of Alice in Wonderland. And I got that for trophies, and I think it was on sale. I've played a fair bit of that. It's actually really cool. The whole aesthetic is very interesting and quirky. Kind of creepy, if you will. But it's a solid game. It's kind of like a 3D platformer. And, yeah, I don't know. I haven't finished it, but it's very interesting, so. I have Guacamelee. I don't remember buying Guacamelee on PS3. I've got it on Wii U, which I have played. PS3, I don't remember playing it, and I just got it recently in a bundle for PC. But Guacamelee is kind of like a Metroidvania type game, which is a genre where it's kind of like a platformer where you go around the world and you get new abilities and power-ups and moves to get into further places in that world, get past like obstacles and that kind of thing, and fight bosses. It's really good. It's like based on like Mexican traditions and folklore, and it's quite interesting. It's pretty cool. I have Castlevania Harmony of Despair and Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I really like Castlevania games, even though they're super hard and have so much content in them post-game that I don't think I've ever fully completed them. But Harmony of Despair, I used to play co-op with my friend, and it was pretty tricky. We got up to like the last boss. We could never defeat her because she always turned one of us against the other one. Like that was her ability. And you don't want to kill your friend because then they come back as a useless skeleton. But they have no control over what they're doing. Their character starts fighting you and you're like, yeah, that's difficult. But the Castlevania games are really good. Metroid games are really good. Guacamelee, really good. I have Spelunky, of course. Can't own a console without having Spelunky. NBA Jam, which I think I mentioned also in my Xbox video. I have these games on both consoles now. I have Castle Crashers, which I used to play with a different friend occasionally. And I know it's a fun game, but it's kind of just button mashing after a particular amount of time, so we would play it together, but it was only just for the sake of, doing something together. If we wanted a break from shooting things in Call of Duty and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. It never really gripped me as much as it did other people, I think. But like it's well made, it's just, I don't know, there's something I was just missing, like fun-wise. And the final game is Journey. And Journey is a experimental cooperative multiplayer game. You can play it single player, but it's a whole other experience playing it multiplayer because the only way to communicate with your partner is to basically ping them, which is to make your character like go bing and like call out. And basically you don't know who your partner is until you finish the game, and you guys just wander the desert, picking up parts of your scarf, and there's like a labyrinth and a monster at one stage, and I know it's a lot of very scenic stuff, like gliding in the desert. It's very quiet and atmospheric, and it's quite an experience. It's quite beautiful, and even though there's no talking, it actually makes you sympathise or empathise with the characters. And I recommend, I don't want to say watch a video on YouTube about it because I don't think it's quite the same experience as watching it, but playing it and having your own partner is it's really something that sticks with you. It's quite a good game. But that about does it for my PlayStation 3 collection. Over the years I've had many more games, but this video would go for like 2 hours if I had to talk about all those as well. So these are just the final games. It's very unlikely that I'll buy any more after this. And if I had to pick a favourite out of the ones I've talked about today, I would say Heavy Rain, just because of its replayability and complete immersion that I felt while playing it. Or Black Ops 1, because of the many hours I spent playing online with my friends, and just, definitely got my money's worth with it. Played it for years, I think, and if they ever like remake it HD or something on Xbox, I will absolutely buy that, because it means hopefully the servers will be repopulated and people will get back into it. So yeah, I think those two are my favourites, really. But I'd like to thank you for joining me for this game collection video. I know these are pretty popular and I hope you guys are still enjoying them. We have maybe 2 more of these videos to come out where I'll be going over my Wii U and Wii games, and if I can muster the energy, we'll go through what PC games I have, because I have a bunch of physical PC games but also like 200 something games on Steam,